You know, folks, the whole world is talking about Bitcoin. Want to know why? Maybe it's because Bitcoin rose in value over 150% last year, and this is just the beginning. Bitcoin is online investing that anyone can do. Visit bitcoinuniversity.org today. Take a master class. Download the Book of Bitcoin and take your investment portfolio to the next level. Visit bitcoinuniversity.org and discover all that a Bitcoin can do for you. That's bitcoinuniversity.org, bitcoinuniversity.org. Joseph Tacopina, famed defense attorney, 47 years, my dear friend. Joseph, good buddy, how are you this morning, pal?
Good morning, brother. How are you?
I'm doing great. So I get a text from my beautiful wife, Danielle. You love Danielle. And she says to me, she goes, you know, Damian Williams is doing a really good job. And you and I had a text conversation last night about Damian. That's a huge story. Donald Trump is whacking him. He's out. Now, I know you know what's going on here. The last couple of weeks, the mayor, Eric Adams, has buddied up to Trump, and Trump likes him. Fact is, Donald Trump does like him. So everybody's like, well, the mayor needs a pardon. He's in trouble. And that may be true. And that's probably Adams' initial motivation for reaching out to Trump. But,
no doubt.
Right, but those two guys are becoming legitimate buddies, and now the DA, who's got the Adams case and the P. Diddy case, is about to get whacked. That's not a coincidence, is it, Tack?
Well, it's not. Look, it may not be a coincidence, but he's not getting whacked because he indicted Eric Adams. I will tell you that. He's getting whacked, if we want to use the vernacular, being that Joe Pesci was just on. He's getting whacked.
By the way, I know you hate that. You didn't even like The Sopranos because you hate these stereotypical.
I was so mad. I was going to say something when we started the segment. I was like, just shut up. Just shut up. Let him have fun. It's radio.
Right.
If he wants to be anti-Italian, if he wants to smear my people, go ahead. But if that was an Asian person or a Jewish person or a black person that you did that to, your show would be canceled. Catsimatidis would have to be off the air.
Yeah.
But no. But the Italians
Joe, I got news for you. On this show, we make fun of blacks and Jews and Asians too. So
That's true. That's what makes you so beautiful. Listen to me. Damian Williams was getting whacked because of the new administration. That's just how it works. And it's not just Damian Williams. It'll be every U.S. attorney appointed by Biden. And before that, it was every U.S. attorney appointed by, when Obama came in, it was every U.S. attorney appointed by Bush. It's just how it works. It's when a new administration comes in from a new party, okay, for the most part, they clean house. And there's nothing abnormal about that. I don't think he's removing Damian Williams because of the indictment of Eric Adams. That's a fact.
Well, it may not be cause of it, but I think he's well aware that he's the guy. Maybe Adams has, because, like you said, they do remove most of them anyway, but not every single one of them. So I got to think it plays a certain part. I mean, the bigger question is this: Williams is out, then it all goes away unless, if I'm right, unless the state picks it up. They can put Adams in prison, but even then, with Trump butting up to Adams, it doesn't sound probable. What are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, just because Williams is gone doesn't mean the case goes away. A federal grand jury indicted him. Those are citizens from the community. It's not Damian Williams didn't vote to indict him, right? So the indictment stands. When a U.S. attorney leaves office, the pending cases are pending cases. Donald Trump would have to do something extraordinary. And honestly, listen, I have respect for him, obviously, and he's a beast and he's a warrior and all that, and he's going to do what he wants to do, and no one's going to tell him anything otherwise. That being said, I hope he doesn't get into the habit of pardoning people he's friendly with just because he's friendly with them. I think each case has to be looked at on its merits, right? And so it's just because Eric Adams buddied up to him at one particular point, and because they had a common enemy in Joe Biden for an hour, Eric Adams still comes from very much the other side of the aisle. Okay, so you'll pardon somebody just because we had a mutual enemy and because we buddied up for a little bit. Eric Adams did not make Donald Trump president. So let's. By the way,
not only did not make Donald Trump, he actually referred to himself. And I told Trump's people this because I don't dislike Eric personally, but he's full of crap. He referred to himself for 2 years as, quote, the Biden of Brooklyn.
Right. Exactly. So, yeah, and that's politics for you folks, right? I mean, just wherever the wind is blowing is where you're going, right? So it's like ridiculous to think that just because, they had a common enemy for an hour, because Eric Adams got indicted and I don't believe he got indicted because he complained about the migrant problem. I don't believe that's why he got indicted. But putting that aside, if that's what President Trump believes, it's still not really a basis to pardon him. Yeah. I mean, if the grand jury indicted him based on facts, and I'm not intimately familiar with the case, so I'm not condemning Eric Adams. I'm not saying he's guilty or not guilty. I say let the case just proceed. That's one. So it's like, it has to be done on its merits, because if they do pardon him, if the new administration comes in and dismisses the case against Mayor Adams, the state can pick up the case. Okay, they can. I don't know if they will. They can. Under some legal theory, they can do it. And they will. I don't think they're going to let the mayor, who they believe is corrupt, law enforcement, and just let him walk. And if they do that, the president has no jurisdiction over the state. None. Zero. Right. Zero. Right. So he could be all powerful and control the Justice Department. The state prosecutors' offices are untouched and uninfluenced by the president of the United States, and they have no jurisdiction. The president has no jurisdiction over the state offices. So if they decide to do that, they can do that. But I hopefully we're not going to be in a position where everyone he's had a cup of coffee with, or anyone who said a nice word about him, gets pardoned. That was one. You mentioned P. Diddy. I mean, I hope to God we're not even talking about a pardon for P. Diddy. That case needs to play out. That would be. Look, this Donald Trump could survive anything, right? Apparently. So, but that would be really tough. I mean, there's allegations of a lot of bad conduct here, including pedophilia. And so when you talk about minors involved, I would just stay far away from that one. If I were advising the president on that one, I'd be like, there's a jury. Let a jury deal with that.
Well, what's funny about this is when he was first put in jail, you and Alan Dershowitz, maybe the two best attorneys alive, probably, were angry. And you said, well, he's innocent and you can't just put the guy in jail. And then you started to almost sound like, let me see all the facts and the freak-offs. Those freak-offs were those women wanted to do it. Now it sounds like you've done a complete 180 on P. Diddy. What's going on here?
No. It's not even that. So what I said was he shouldn't be in jail without bond at all, okay? There's ways. What I was really hopped up on is the fact that he's been remanded without any possibility of bail. There were ways to satisfy the issues like the safety to the community issue without putting him in jail. You could have given him house arrest. He was willing to pay for private security. That's government-based security, not his own like boys, right? And the community would have been safe. Believe me, he'd be under surveillance 24/7. So I still don't think he needs to be in jail right now, and I don't think that's. I think that's because of who he is in the name. That's what I've always said. I also said I don't like to condemn anyone and presume them guilty before we know any of the evidence. I still don't like to do that. I don't know the evidence. I just know the allegations. Since we first spoke, allegations have come out, and more allegations have come out about allegations regarding minors. Okay? Yeah. They're allegations. Nothing's proven, Sid. And I still presume him innocent. I do. And I hope he is innocent because they're horrible allegations. That being said, they are allegations. And if those allegations are true, that's a horrible thing. But I think it needs to be sort of played out in a court of law, under the rule of law, not done on a side deal where a case gets sort of wiped away and P. Diddy goes home. I mean, there will be outrage.
Oh, yes. Oh, of course.
That's not a good one. Look, if he's innocent, a jury will find him not guilty if the facts are there. If he is guilty, a jury will find him guilty.
But I believe that. Is he ever getting out? Ever?
I don't listen. If he wins this case, I'm not. Listen, there's a lot of reasons. You have this lawyer in Texas who's putting he's 120 plaintiffs. I mean, is he taking out ads or something? But what the U.S. attorney is doing is dying right now. I know them, and I know what's going on there. I was one of them, and they're dying because they have a plaintiff's attorney who's basically giving the defense a built-in line of cross-examination, a motivation, a financial motive for making allegations. No one came forward for years, right? No one complained about these parties that they were all dying to be invited to until someone got money. After Cassie got money, all of a sudden, whoop, boom, right. Everyone's complaining. And that's a great line of cross-examination for a defense attorney to explore, because I'm not saying they're lying just because of that, but goddamn.
Yeah.
So, you never said a word to anyone, never complained to the police, never complained to law enforcement, to your brother, your mother, your sister, or your father, your best friend, never wrote anything about it, never went to a doctor. But, after someone got X amount of millions of dollars, then you decided 22 years later.
No, listen, that's you're making a great point. It's totally fair. But I will say this. You remember years ago when the whole Heidi Fleiss story broke, okay? And every actor, every politician, every entertainer was scared to death because they said, hey, we're going to release the book. She's got a book of a lot of people. It seems to me, talking about allegations and rumors, there are a lot of Hollywood people, even nice people, like nice little Oprah, who allegedly have been to these parties, allegedly. And I think these people don't want that list out there. This is, to me, the new Heidi Fleiss list. This could be very damaging. Could be the new Jeffrey Epstein list.
Yeah, I represent a bunch of those people, by the way, and they're concerned that they're going to be smeared and their name's going to be thrown into something that they had nothing to do with. Look, do you know how many people were at Diddy parties over the years? And that doesn't mean they were in the freak-offs or they knew anything or did anything. But a lot of people were at these parties. Good people, normal people, regular people, not regular people, bad people. Everyone was at these damn parties. So it doesn't mean because you're at a party, you're involved. So I think that's what the concern is, like this list, so to speak. Do you remember a name that came out on the Heidi Fleiss list?
I don't. Only Charlie Sheen, but he admitted it first.
Right. And there was a big shocker, right? And even with the Epstein thing, that was a big bombshell. People's lives were going to be ruined and careers. And that sort of fell by the wayside.
Yeah, nothing. Dershowitz was innocent, and the only guy that really continued to get smeared, and he deserved it, was Prince Andrew. That's about it. And Clinton.
And that was it. I mean, really. So all these big, the list is going to come out, and people are running for the cover. It's all nonsense. I mean, it never really happened, and there has to be proof that someone did something. I think the Diddy thing is going to be the same thing.
Yeah.
So what? People are at parties.
Probably, you're right.
They were engaged in bad acts.
You're right.
Maybe
right.
they were.
Right. No, you're right.
Dealing with. They have no exposure whatsoever.
Nope. All right, so listen, so you did a great job not once but twice. I just spoke to Alina Habba, but truth is, you did a great job for Trump twice. The Alvin Bragg case, you did a great job, and you won the E. Jean Carroll case. You won it. That's the bottom line.
I mean, they were trying to clip him as a rapist. That's the bottom line, right?
And
they
you
were trying
won.
to call him a rapist.
That's right.
And the jury said not, right? That's the only New York jury that ever looked Donald Trump in the face and said not.
Right.
Okay?
So
not guilty, not liable, not whatever. And it was tough because the odds are stacked against him in New York. Look, those juries in New York clearly, I mean, look at these cases. And I just heard Alina, and she's right. I mean, he couldn't get a fair shake at all in any of these trials. And the fact that a jury, despite their desire to nail him for something, the biggest thing they could have ever said to him was, "You're a rapist," and that would have been a different sort of moniker.
Been terrible.
That would have been a different tagline. They said no to that.
That's right.
And the judge was no friend of his, as you know. Everyone was really anxious to make sure he got clipped for that. And at the end of the day, it was a big zero.
I remember that was the last time I did Newsmax television that day. And Judge Kaplan was a judge. I'll say him. You won't. But you were actually texting me when you left the courtroom. It was amazing. I was getting firsthand news from the courtroom. But you won that. I mean, the jury picked the second charge on it's a piece of paper, folks. It's right in front of them. They couldn't pick the top one as badly as they wanted to. So they picked the next one. It was nonsense. But do you agree with Alina's contention? She was just on. You heard it. That Judge Merchan, who turned out to be not as bad as Kaplan or Engeron or some of these other guys, do you agree that he should have dismissed this case?
I don't think he's decided not to. Look, I think there's a real issue. There's issues on appeal. There's certainly issues with the immunity, whether the DA used evidence that was not be able to be used based on Supreme Court's ruling on immunity, right? So I think he's deciding whether to do that. Judge Merchan, listen, again, you just said it, Sid. You almost said it. I'll say it. I think he's been patently fair. I mean, he's been beaten up a lot, and he was. The
only thing he wasn't fair, Joe, you got to admit this, and don't badmouth the guy because you got cases in front of him, but he held Trump in contempt like every day for like a month. Come on.
Well, yes, but what did he do, Sid? See, my client's holding contempt 9 times for violating gag orders, they're going in. They're going in.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
He didn't put him in. I mean, look, he was trying to keep rule of law intact in that courtroom. And bottom line is, he gave him a fair shake. He kept out. Look, in my trial, Judge Kaplan let that Access Hollywood tape from 150 years ago, which was clearly banter, locker room talk stuff, right?
Yep.
He let that be played a dozen times. The jury. That's the worst tape you could ever hear. And the jury heard that a dozen times. They just, like, we'd come back from a coffee break and they'd play the tape. We're just going to play the tape again.
Oh, my God.
Like, God damn it. Why do you keep playing the tape? Yeah. And the judge, like, let them play whenever they wanted. Mershon said, no, I'm not going to let you play this tape. It's too inflammatory. It's too prejudicial. It outweighs the probative value. It's going to inflame the passions of a jury. Of course it does. And it doesn't really go to the matter at hand here, right? So he did something. If he wanted to put the nails to Trump, he could have done it a lot more. I think he has to get some credit. Look, even with me, Stormy Daniels was trying to knock me out of the case, saying she tried to hire me, right? Like a joke, I'd never represent Stormy Daniels. Like I'd sooner make espressos in Starbucks for a living than represent Stormy Daniels as a lawyer.
And by the way,
right?
but she did reach out. She did reach out to you, right? Yes.
Oh my God, she tried to hire me. I never even spoke to her. But she called Chad. She was trying to get us. Please let him represent me. And I'm like, against who? Donald Trump. I'm like, bye. Tell Chad we're not dealing with that. Yeah. So, and that was it. That was the extent of it all. I never spoke to this lady. Never met with her. But when I started representing the president in that case, she got this 5-cent lawyer, who's had all these issues and disciplinary problems to go and write some complaint about, me representing President Trump while I had previously been engaged or had some attorney-client fiduciary obligations to Stormy Daniels. And I was like, what? And it was just like a 5 minutes of fame, a smear thing, and Judge Mershon reviewed everything and said, no, he has absolutely no conflict. He also filed a disciplinary complaint against me. The disciplinary committee said, no, there's absolutely no impropriety, no conflict, and that was it. But, I had to go through that. But Judge Mershon actually saw through it and did the right thing. So okay. I give him credit. Okay. I think he's going to do the right thing here, too. I do think eventually he's going to do the right thing.
So final 60 seconds, you've got the biggest, baddest law firm in the world, you and Chad Siegel and Diorio and the whole crew. You're all badasses, okay? But I told you last week, I had Tom Homan on 2 days ago, okay? He loves me. This guy is going to start sending people back right away, all over the world. They're going to deport just about everybody. You got to buy an immigration firm. This is where the big money's going to be. Forget about Pete Diddy and Boxy Brown. You got to buy an immigration firm. And by the way, the best immigration attorney in New York City is Danielle.
I know. Well, I know that. So why do I need to buy an immigration firm? I'm just going to send everything to Danielle. She'll take care of me, buy me a lunch or two, and we're all set. So I mean, she's listen. I love Danielle as a lawyer. As a person, I love her, but as a lawyer, she's terrific. And so it makes me happy to work with her. I mean, we've done things before, as you know. Your daughter is amazing. I'm waiting for her because she's my next associate. Anyway, so.
Damn right. She actually interned for you over there in a couple summers ago.
That's what I'm talking about.
She's looking to work with. Thank you. She's actually looking to work with sex trafficking victims.
Well, that's really. I mean, see, that's the stuff that when you get out of bed every day, you're making an impact on someone's life in such a positive way. That's an amazing thing, Sid. I mean, you really can't. It's amazing. That's there's no words really to sort of capture how beautiful that is because those are people that need everyone's help, and there's not enough people willing to do that because it's not the most lucrative job in the world. But when you talk about being satisfied with what you do for a living, to me, money, I swear, if everything I did was based on how much money I got, I'd be working at one of those big law firms, a partner at one of those big firms, working, 9 a.m. to midnight every night, doing a corporate law firm job, doing that stuff. And I'd been offered those positions, and I would make way more than I'm making now. I'd also kill myself.
Right, I believe that.
I like impacting people's lives in a positive way. People's lives have been impacted by what I've done, and it's something that you can't replace with any amount of money. And I love the fact that she's doing something so important that she cares about so much, and it's a testament to you and Danielle.
Thank you, buddy. I do love you. Thank you. And look who's talking. You and Trish are great parents, too. Just let me read this list here before we hang up here. President Trump, Daniel Snyder, Jay-Z, Michael Jackson, Alex Rodriguez, Meek Mill, YG, Sean Hannity, and Don Imus, and Sid Rosenberg. It's not a bad list.
And Sid Rosenberg.
That's right. It's not a bad list. You're beautiful. I love you. This was an amazing segment. You're a great attorney and an even better friend. Thank you, brother. We'll do it again next week.
Okay, I love you, brother.
I love you, too. That was great. Wasn't that great? Joe Tacopina right there.
He's great.
He really is. He's great.
Janine Pirro here for Colonial Metals Group. Colonial Metals Group helps Americans protect their future with the most trusted store of wealth in human history. Physical gold and silver. If you're retiring or retired, go to colonialmetalsgroup.com/Pirro for your free Janine Pirro Colonial Metals Group Retirement Protection Kit or call 800-965-8004. 800-965-8004 now to receive a free home safe and up to $7,500 in free silver.